Hi, this is Matt from tracymatt.co.uk, and here I am again with the HTC Legend. Just thought I'd do a quick follow-up to my earlier unboxing video of the device and take a look at some of the other features that the device has to offer. So first of all, let's power on, and we'll just swipe down to unlock. We get immediately to, well, we should get immediately to home screen. Let's do that now. I've left it on one of the other ones. So this is the sort of main home screen. You can see the time and the weather sort of presented at the top. With the actual temperature outside, and then obviously a couple of icons underneath. I haven't customised any of this stuff actually on the screen here that you can see. If we tap the clock, it will actually go into like the desk clock mode. So we have like a desk, well, kind of a digital clock, and more detail of the temperature, and well, obviously the moon phases here, but if it was daytime, it would actually say whether or not it was sunny or cloudy. At the moment we're looking at clear skies, but obviously the moon's out. Then we have the world clock, various cities here that we can actually customise, and we can add our own. We have alarms. We can add multiple alarms. None of them are turned on, but you can, as you can see, there are 3 here. They can be set to be recurring, so they can recur either on weekdays or weekends or whatever have you. They're on their own schedule. Then we have a stopwatch, pretty much as you'd expect a stopwatch to be, and then finally we'd have a countdown timer. So that's kind of your desktop, or desk clock rather. I know a couple of people have already asked questions about desk clock, so that's that there. Other applications that we've already got on here, we do have a weather widget, which when we tap that, it does actually go into like a full weather application, which will then tell us weather in various cities. I've got mine set up for London and New York and a few others, but that's a fairly sort of kind of a standardish feature. Come to pretty much expect that from HTC handsets nowadays, so that's there too. So come back out of there, let's get back, there we go. So it does have its own widget that we can actually apply, and that widget there is sitting on the desktop. We have Friend Stream. Now this has been configured with Twitter and Facebook. It would also work with Flickr if we chose to add that. I don't have a Flickr account, so I haven't got that configured, but Twitter and Facebook, so that is a stream there of all my friends and all their updates from Flickr and Facebook. That's the widget part of it, and then if we tap that, it actually goes into the Friend Stream application, which you can see there. Come back out of there. My Exchange email is listed here. If I had multiple email accounts, they would all be listed in one place, colour coded. The one that's green is the one that's unread, for example, but you can actually colour code them. Again, if I actually just tap on the email, it does load up my email, and I can just skip back. So like I say, that is the widget view of my Exchange ActiveSync email. We're back to the main desktop. Then we have my favourites for making phone calls. I only bothered to set one up just for now, but you kind of get the idea. Then we have our bookmarks. So we have a number of websites already bookmarked in there. So we have the HTC, Google, Yahoo, Wikipedia, Twitter, Facebook, Lonely Planet, and AccuWeather. We can add more, or we can delete any of these that we choose to do so, but that's another widget in its own right. Then we have a blank area. I just thought I'd use this is an opportunity to show you some of the ways that we can actually add the widgets, and there's some cool widgets that HTC have included. Now one of them I quite like is the calendar, which I think is kind of missing from many other devices, Android devices, so it's really good to see HTC have expanded upon that. Now when we go to add the calendar, we can add a standard calendar just as you see there, pretty straightforward, with the whole month shown, and today will be shown in bold and with a box around it so we can see it, and any days that have appointments have a little triangle in the corner. That's one view of the calendar. The other one is an agenda style view, which I personally like quite a lot, because it will actually list your upcoming appointments for well, forever basically. You can actually scroll through the list and see your upcoming appointments over the next couple of months or whatever. If you're a fairly busy person, then obviously that just a couple of days are going to, or even a single day, might fill the screen in case you'll need to scroll. but it also will colour code them depending on the type of appointment that you have, if it's business or personal. If you actually do colour those in your your appointment schedule, they will actually come up. That's quite cool. And the last one is this little ribbon, which I think is quite good because it doesn't take up an awful lot of room. I can arrange that around the screen. I can have that sitting at the bottom there, which still allows me room to actually put in other items, so that's pretty cool. So I like that. And there's another widget here that I like that's pretty good, we're also going to add, and that is the people widget, which again, we have two different ways of implementing that. We can implement it this way, which is basically a full screen widget. So in much the same way that we've already seen the friends and favourites there that I showed you a moment ago, a full screen version of that. But also we can just do a column style widget. So we can select that, for example, and we'll just actually have it in as favourites for now. But if I just move that, I can move it to the side. Again, I can make it so that I've got room for a couple of my favourites down here, and it would be scrollable if I had more than obviously one. But also I would have room for other icons and shortcuts down the other side. So nice couple of widgets there. There are plenty of others actually on the device that we can choose, and I'll just quickly show some of those in terms of a list. So you can have clocks, bookmarks. There's the HTC calendar as well as the Android calendar. There's an HTC clock, Facebook, footprints, friend stream, mail, messages, music, news, which is like an RSS program, people we've already seen, photo album, power controls, settings, Twitter. There's an awful lot in actual fact, so that's pretty cool. And in actual fact, you can download others from the Android market if you choose to do so. So that's quite cool. So they're just a few of them that you can actually add on. You can also add programs, which is effectively shortcuts to actual applications. There's two ways that you can actually do that as well. So if you actually go into the programs menu and you were say looking through here and you wanted to pick an item, say let's say Peep for example, and we choose to have that on the desktop. If you just hold down on that, we can then add Peep to the desktop there, so that'll be one of our items on the desktop. And then if we choose to remove it, you just drag it down to the bottom and that actually removes it. So that's quite cool. I like the fact, and one of the things I really do like about Android is that you can heavily customize it. I think that's pretty cool. So we go back home. Another thing that I've recently discovered, obviously I've only had the device for I don't know, about 7 or 8 hours maybe, is if we push a menu button, we have a thing called scenes. Now what scenes allows us to do is have like different desktop experiences for different times of day or different applications, or some, for example here we could have a work one, we could have a social one, we could have one for play. So we could have one, the work one set up, so Monday to Friday we use the work one, and then in the evenings and weekend maybe you want to use the play one, for example. I'm currently using the HTC one, which is a standard interface, but I'm going to just quickly show you the work one just to give you an idea of what changes, and we'll pick that. We're not going to save any of the current theme, and we'll just wait for that to change. And as you can see here, it's completely changed all of my tabs, all of my pages if you like. My home screen now has two clocks, two analog clocks, so London and home if you like, but we could customize these to be any two that we like. It has the ribbon approach to showing my calendar. We have people, mail, internet and maps at the bottom. Then on the next tab I have my favourites, which is in this list view. I can turn the Bluetooth on and off, I have the Wi-Fi on and off, and I have a little weather icon in the corner there. Not the full weather, just current weather right now, where I am and what temperature is. Again, because it's obviously night time, it just shows me the phases of the moon, and also the fact there's no clouds there. It's obviously a clear night. Bookmarks, again standard, and then we do have this empty page. If we go back the other way, we have my Exchange ActiveSync email. We have stocks, because this is the business scene if you like, so stocks there. And then we have the full calendar and the full layout of the calendar, again because it's a business theme or work theme, it has that layout. So if we go back to the middle page, we don't have to go back to the middle page, we go back to the middle page, we change the scene. We can change it to play, for example, and we'll accept that. And in play mode, well, we have a nice large analog clock. The shortcuts down the bottom, well, they've changed slightly. We've got people, maps, internet and camera. And then we go across the other way, we've got media player. And we have bookmarks once again, standard. We have that empty page right at the end. Come back the other way. Actually, here's a photo album. I haven't got an album set up, but it will actually display. I'll cycle through photos there. We have my friend stream, and then we have the weather. But there we go, that's just a couple of different approaches to the scenes. You can save your own scenes, you can set up your own and actually save them, have your own custom scenes as well. I think it's a nice approach to actually using your phone for you know, more than one application, if you like, so you can have business and personal. So that's pretty cool. So we go back to the standard HTC scene, if you like. So the other thing I'd like to show you quickly is the internet. And one of the things I want to show you about the internet is that we do have zooming with two fingers, so pinch and pull to actually zoom in and out. And obviously you can scroll around, and if I go to another site, HTC site's not the best example for doing what I want to show you. I'll go to my site for just a moment. As I mentioned in the earlier video, it does load very quickly, pages render very quickly as well. I'll just quickly mention Reflow once again. I mentioned it in the earlier video, but just want to mention that once again. I think it's a really excellent piece of technology. So I've got an area of text there. I'm aware that there's text there. I can't possibly read it at this resolution, at this size. So if I double tap on that text, you'll notice that the formatting and the alignment of the text has changed. Still wraps it around the image here, but it makes the text large enough to read. Now, because obviously we zoomed in, it would otherwise have just made the text go off the edge of the screen, and I would have had to have scrolled backwards and forwards if I hadn't, you know, if it hadn't done this reflow. Now, what reflow has done is it's fit all the text to fit. It's the technology that we actually saw in the HTC Diamond, a good couple of years ago, but it's one that works really, really well, and I'm very pleased that they've actually put it on their new devices. So if we just tap it again, the arrangement just changes back to normal. As you can see, the on-screen keyboard has just popped up there. I think it's a pretty decent keyboard. Slightly different to the standard Android implementation, but works very well. And if I actually change the screen round, as you can see there, it does actually change the orientation of the display and does change the keyboard to a landscape keyboard, so it's pretty cool. So we've popped back out of the internet and we'll go back home. The other question that we've had earlier on this evening is about maps. So I'll just jump quickly into maps and we'll zoom into, let's just find a location there. Right, one of the things that have been asked is there two-finger zooming on the maps? And sadly the answer is no, no multi-touch on the maps as implemented. So perhaps that will be added at a later stage, do hope so. But for the moment we have to make do with the zoom in and out icons in the corner. Bit of a shame. I think it's I think a lot of people have just got used to being able to use two fingers to zoom on displays. It kind of is a fairly innate behaviour now, so it's a shame that's not there, but sadly by default that isn't there, so we'll just come back out there. And we've already seen different calendar views, and we've seen friend stream. Okay, so go look at some of the other apps that are on here. Well, Google Mail has now been set up. This is just a dummy account that I've just set up purely for the sake of testing Google Mail in the Android market, so please don't spam me. And we can actually pop it in and out of our email views, just to give you an idea of how email looks on the device. Just wait for that to quickly load. And that is a view of email. Pretty standard stuff. It's kind of how we expect to see email on an Android device, so it's pretty ordinary. So we come back out of there and we come back to here, and I'll also pop into the Android market just for sake of order. So we obviously have featured, we have apps that we can actually search through, And then we have games, top paid, top free, and the latest just in games there. And then we have the different downloads, and anything listed here would actually tell me that I've already got Facebook for Android installed and Google Maps installed. There was actually an update for Google Maps that I hoped would add multi-touch support. Sadly it didn't. It was just an update for Google Maps, so that is installed on there. So that's your Android Market. Again, Android Market is exactly as you would expect it on any other Android device. And if we go back in here and we go into Mail, it's my Exchange email. HTC have customized the Mail client, which is a really good thing. So we have our Mail view here, which is a standard-ish Mail view. But if we tap the next icon along, we have a conversational view, so we can actually see that there are 18 messages in this conversation, 3 in this one, 2 in this one, for example. And if we actually tap on the arrow next to it, it will actually break out and show the full conversation in a threaded view. That's quite good. Then it will actually show VIP groups. So if I've actually got messages from, or if I've got contacts in a group called VIP, say I wanted to put, or one wanted to put their boss or their wife or girlfriend in this VIP group, then it would actually filter out all the other messages and just show you those people in this VIP group. It's a pretty good idea. We have an unread view. Again, that's a really nice idea that's been added, because if you've got an awful lot of mail, for example in the main inbox, having the unread version just makes it easier to actually go through them, so it's good that's been added. Then we have any that are marked, then we have meeting requests, and finally items that have attachments are shown separately too, so that's all pretty good. It's nice that they've actually taken the time to actually add this customization, thought about how people actually do use mail, and have made those changes, so that's pretty good. While I'm actually going through this, you'll notice the buttons underneath the display. What you won't have noticed what hasn't really been obvious is that when the lighting is dark enough, the buttons at the bottom are backlit. So I'm obviously in quite reasonably bright conditions here for doing our video, but if it was darker, the actual backlight would actually display on those buttons, which is cool. We've also had a couple of questions about LED indicators, so if I just plug in the micro USB charger, you notice at the top there the LEDs come on orange, which is just under the grill. It's pretty discreet, but that will actually change colour to green when the battery is fully charged as well. The other thing you will have noticed, if I just plug that back in, is when I first plug this in, it will actually ask me what I want to do in terms of USB connectivity, so I can charge only, HTC Sync, disk drive, or internet sharing, and I can actually set a default and then tell it not to ask me again, so that's pretty cool. So we'll just unplug that for now, but that's where your indicator LED is. This doesn't illuminate at the bottom. I know on the Nexus 1 the trackball did illuminate, but the actual optical bit doesn't illuminate on this device. Music, pop quickly into music, and that's our now playing view, and it's pretty straightforward stuff, but it's a decent music way of dealing with music. If I actually just turn the volume right down for a moment and actually show you how that works. So the music is now playing, and if I lock the device, the music will continue to play, trust me on that one. And when the music is playing and when the device is locked, you can actually use the media controls on the lock screen, and it will tell you what's playing, tells you what the track is and also the album art. But I can unlock the screen like so, and I go back to the media player there, so that's quite cool. And we'll just pop back out of that, and we can go into this, I'll kind of call it the helicopter view if you like, but we can do pinch to do that and zoom in and out, or we can push the home button, and the home button toggles in and out of leap or helicopter view if you like. So that actually will show what items we do actually have running on the 7 desktops, one being blank, being the 7th there. And if we hit the home button, it will take us back to the middle, and from the middle, if we push it again, it will actually go into the leap view, so that's quite cool. And if we go back into programs, the other one that I'm going to just quickly go ahead and show you is news. Again, this has been installed. The only thing I've done with this is actually configure a stream, so I've actually set it up for tracyandmatt.co.uk, and then you can actually see our RSS feed if you like there. So it's basically an RSS reader that you can configure, but the nice thing about it is that you can actually configure it so that all stories from all feeds could be listed in one list in date and time order. So you could actually scroll through. So it means that you could actually just see a nice digest of multiple sites in one list, which is a nice way to present it. So that's pretty cool. So I think I've covered off most of the things on there that you might want to sort of know a little bit about. One thing that actually has been added is Teeter, which we first saw on the HTC Diamond, which I think is the only game to actually come across to this version of the device. So I think actually it's the only Android device I know of where the games are, well, there is a game pre-installed. I can't think of any others that actually do have games pre-installed. Obviously we've got Quick Office there, we've got stocks, we've got Google Talk, weather, YouTube, drop into YouTube for the sake good order, and actually YouTube app, pretty standard stuff. That's about it. Well, I think that's covered off quite a lot of different applications and little views around how the widgets work, how shortcuts work, and a few other bits and pieces. Hopefully covered off some of your questions that you might have. But please do feel free to ask me questions either through YouTube or preferably through our forum on tracyandmatt.co.uk. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter. On Twitter we are Tracy and Matt. Again, feel free to post me your questions on Twitter. Follow us, and we'll tweet updates as we actually do. Find out a bit more about release dates when we have new devices. Next one up probably will be the HTC Desire, hopefully within the next week or so. So that's definitely worth following us, because we'll let you know when we have new things to talk about, and we'll also update you when we have. We're actually going to be running a competition over the next week as well. So definitely worth following us on Twitter. So thanks for watching. I'll be back soon with more videos and reviews on tracyandmatt.co.uk.